Chapter 66. Portsmouth. They had one more stop before leaving for Portsmouth. They'd stopped at Janice and Tim's, had tea with them. Then they went to Duncan's field and stood watching the geese. The female still showed no sign of flying. They stood for a long time holding each other, watching the two geese fish and swim in the water. I feel like every turning point in our lives happened next to this little stretch of water, our secret place. Then they had to walk away and tackle the drive to Portsmouth. The hotel was no more. It had been bombed in January and completely destroyed in March. They found a bed and breakfast that had a lovely garden, like a piece of defiance in the devastated city. "It's not long, darling. We'll have Christmas together on a beach in the sun." It was indeed not anything like a honeymoon. The ruins were too many and the parting lay too heavily on them. Her tears were constantly just below the surface. She drank in his presence. On his last night, they found a pub that managed to have a semblance of cheerfulness and had dinner there. There weren't many words to be said. She tried to save every moment in her memory. Candlelight on his hair, the way his mouth curved when he smiled at her, the golden glints the candles reflected in the darkness of his eyes, the veins on his hands. "I am spoiled, Danny. Utterly spoiled by loving you. It's ridiculous. I'm like a disappointed child, and it really shouldn't be this bad. It'll be 2 months, maybe 3 at the worst, and it feels like my heart is being ripped from my chest. I can't imagine spending a single night without you." "I know. I don't want to leave, but it will be over soon, and I'll make it up to you. I promise, darling. I'll see you again soon." "I don't want dessert. I want to go." He nodded. He was so calm on the surface. There seemed to be absolute surety in him, but when they got to their room and she went to put her bag away, he put his hand on her shoulder. "Elle." His heart lay naked in his eyes. She turned to him. His kiss was urgent. He held her fiercely. Maybe they were both a little drunk. Maybe it was just all the unsaid words between them. It had never been like that between them before. She gasped, and for a moment he managed to pull back, afraid of hurting her, but she pulled his head back down to her, kissed him as wildly as he needed her, her nails digging into his shoulders. He lost himself in the urgency and the desperation of it, and when he whispered into her hair just after midnight, it was a prayer. "Oh God, Eleanor." Her tears were salty against his lips, her fingers feeling every contour of his face. She kissed his mouth, his eyes, his throat. "Did I hurt you, darling?" "No, Danny. Hold me. Don't let me go." They fell asleep in a tangled embrace. He woke in the grey morning hours and she was gone. He found her in the bathroom, her face tear-streaked. "Come back to me, Elle. I'm still here." "Then love me one last time, Danny, to tide us over." The sun was barely up when she had to stand on the dock and watch him disappear onto the ship. It was a long drive back to the cottage. She checked in on the goats. Christina and Hank had minded them for her. Then she fell asleep holding Danny's pillow. The smell of him was lingering. It was going to be a long, long 2 months till Christmas.